This is a video where I am explaining a music making program that I've made. It is a program designed so that I can improvise as easily as possible with the smallest amount of seed information. Basically, the gist of how it works is I've created about 300 beats that I use as seed information, and then that goes through a bunch of routing so that at the end there's a song that is created. So the information that this generator receives is a few things. There's the beats, as I just mentioned. There is a preset set of sounds that I do for each, which I have different scenes set up so that I can, in this patch for example, I can play 9 different sound sets, and those sound sets include a voice assignment, so that's all the instruments, and also the drum sounds. And also there's a noise channel, just to add noise. There's also effects and things. And then there's also a quantization setup, because I've got a microtonal quantizer inside the system. And that microtonal quantizer needs to be set up beforehand because I haven't found any way to generate good scales for microtonal systems, because every microtonal system is different. You can't just apply regular music theory to microtonal scales, so I have to pre-organize that in advance. And then once all that is done, I can basically just decide which channels I want to play. So this, for example, is a drum and a snare, and then I can hit start. And I have control over the density. And that also works per channel. And so I have 2 of these going, so I've got another pattern set up that I can switch to. Then I can also play both at once. And then there's a knob that controls the seed data, so which drum pattern it's deciding to use. All of these orange knobs are offsets for the melodies and tones and the decay, and then also tone and decay for the drums. So if I play a melody section, so I also have some extended functions, like I've got a button that chains the, there's a different beat generator that sets off all the melody data, but I can decide to chain it off the beat data so that it's a unified sound, so it sounds like a tight group that's all playing with the drums. So that I'll change the drum sound so you can hear how it affects the melody patterns. So then I have a different page for quantization. So this is preset with the quantizer, so this is just different patterns. So I'll play some of those. So there you can hear that it transposed to a different scale. And again. I also have effects that I can add to everything, so I can add distortion to the drums. So as you can hear, it can get quite messy. So part of the skill of playing this instrument is to wrangle the randomness. If I'm just concentrating on playing, what I'll be doing is I'll be unmuting things, playing everything, and usually within, say, half a bar, you can tell if a pattern is horrible or not, so you can quickly change it. And you can do those changes at the end of the bar, so rather than sounding like the pattern started wrong and then got fixed later, you change the pattern early, and that way it sounds like a fill, and then immediately you know if it fits the rest of the pattern or not, and then you can quickly switch to another one, and then hopefully that one isn't that bad. So these knobs, in the current iteration, this has 50 beats set to this. And that's just because of how I've had to scale the MIDI controllers. I can't do more at the moment. I'll go into the patch and I'll show what some of these things are. So the most important part of the patch is the sequencer. So here is a set of, there's 4 beat sequences that are all copies of each other in total. And these all go through various routings to trigger different things. They all have accent and regular beat functions. That way I can do volume changes for the accents, which just make it more clear where the standard pattern functions lie within each beat. So I'll go into it. So basically what this does is it reads a text file that has all of the different assignments, and then it funnels them through to this thing, which then uses logic to decide where everything's going to go. So I'll just start the patch so you can hear what it's doing. So basically what I do is I have a set of clave patterns, which are basically a pattern overlaid over a certain length of grids. So what I've got this set up as is a 16-step grid. So here is a bit of paper that has example patterns on it. So for example, so one of these is 3, 3, 4, 2, 4. So that'd be tuckity 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 tuckity. So it'd be da 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 da. And that, yeah, so that's one pattern, and then you can extrapolate all the different things off them. What you then is you decide when the kick and the snare is going to hit on any of those patterns. Basically, it's a way to numerically figure out how many possible patterns you can get out of 16-step grids. You can then have that pattern and then have like 20 variants of that beat. And then you can multiply that by all of them. And so the good thing about doing it that way is that it's a way to make sure that you don't miss any beats that you could possibly write. And then once that's on the computer, you get all of these different patterns. With these patterns, the way that they're set up, there's different levels of density for each pattern. So you've got the clave pattern up here, so that defines where the beats should lie. And then you've got really strongly accented ones, so like the kick on the first step is almost always full strength. And then there's different, like the snare on this pattern, for example, is the second last beat, and then there's also another very strong one, but not quite as strong. So that's weighted at 3 instead of 4. And what that enables you to do is that when you're in the music making program, you can set the density in discrete steps. So another aside is that I do actually have some pre-programmed very simple beats in this device. So I've got like so that's divide by 2, divide by 4, and divide by 3. This beat generator makes mostly breakbeat style patterns, and this enables me to go back into more dance-orientated patterns, and that way I can do a switch and interplay between the two. That's the beat generator. This took a long time to make. Basically what I did is I studied the book, The Geometry of Musical Rhythm. That gave me the idea of using a clave as a base for a pattern and then extrapolating a pattern from that. It also showed me where there's like big gaps in knowledge. So like that explains like kick snare patterns quite well, But then there's things like a lot of drummers will do things like they'll be playing a complex pattern and then they'll change the pattern so that like all kicks on the first half of the pattern and all snares and do like a push-pull thing. So I've also got my beat generator to do things like that. I'm not using that in this setup, but it's in there and the data's ready to go. But I had to get this ready for a gig, so it doesn't have that quite yet.